Working the UVTV, motherfucker. I'm gonna kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. On God. Neon nigga, further me in. Today I'm gonna be talking about the afterlife and existing hereafter. So what you're doing now dictates your life after this one. And that's the most simplest way of how to put it. The simplest way of how to put it is the afterlife is just your life after this one. And it's just an accumulation of what you've done in your existence so far. So based upon what you've done in your existence so far, it's just an accumulation. So look at it like a spring, summer, fall, winter. Look at it like a spirit, mind, body, external world representation. Look at it like a birth, life, death, evaporation for the most part. So it's based upon point A to point D, and point D will be like the promised land, and then point A will be the starting point of what you're trying to make substantiated. So it's just an accumulation of what you've done in your existence so far. So from it being in existence after, it's just life after death. So y'all be looking at death though based upon physical death, even though it is that, but all of it is different mechanisms. So it's kind of like you already died like three different times, so to speak. So once you go through that mechanism, that that transmutation, that mutation, that evolution of the spirit, mind, body, external world, the birth, life, death, evaporation, you have to look at it like your spirit is just the space that you're in, your state of being and your state of awareness before it becomes a shape and form. So it's you just observing something. So the same way how you observe your thoughts and feelings, that's when it starts to become a shape and form, like thought forms, and yeah, like thought forms, so to speak. So that's your first body, your first shape and form, your mentality, the metaphysics of it all, and then it becomes your second body, the physical shape and form, which is just your organs and your organism. So you have to organize your organs, and that's the thing that's gonna make you an organism, and how you try to rule your nations. So that's just your organizations and your associates. Look at the associates like your thoughts and feelings, and an accumulation of that is like the different vital organs to make it so it can be engineered and function properly, so it can be a proper engineering system and a civilization, your nation. So overall, right, your existence is just your state of being, your state of awareness, your space, your world, the world views. You know what I'm saying? Like your worldview and your atmosphere. So the atmosphere being the sphere at most, your world at the most, and your realm being a part of your presence. Now your presence is just your present senses. So that's why they be like, the present is like a gift, because it's like your natural gift, talents, and abilities of what you already naturally know how to do. You know what I'm saying? And then we all got those qualities. Otherwise, your ass wouldn't have your own mind, and you wouldn't be living in your own existence, and you wouldn't be a person with your own personality and your own individuality, because you're just a walking embodiment of the personification of what you already are in general. And you're making it into different mannerisms and behaviors and charismas and characteristics, but it's a thing you have to keep on going. But you're naturally knowing what's more true to you and what you're genuinely into on a higher percentage scale. And then as you grow up, you start to go through different things based upon your environment and how you got brought up, of what's you and what's not you, what you want to be, what you want to be a part of, what you don't want to be a part of, what you want to be a product of, and what you don't want to be a product of, which leads to energies of you being a product of your environment. But that environment and that surrounding and that familiarity made you who you are in the first place. That's why you chose that geographical space and location, your parents and your predecessors, and why you chose got brought up that way, because that's what you're already used to in the first place. So it'll be harder over time to try to let go of that awareness, not even awareness, like let go of that circumstance and put yourself in a whole different state of being. Like a lot of these things sound scary and it'd be hard, but that lets you know you are a real creative, imaginative, spiritual type of person, because you're able to take the space that you're in and put it in a whole different space and not care about the space you was just in and you got fulfilled into, to put yourself in a whole different space that you probably done never did before type shit. And that's all spirituality is, the actuality of all of our different spaces together, the universe. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you putting yourself in a different state of existence. You putting yourself in a different pocket of the universe and try to make your own universe or your own world within it. So it's like a space within a space. So your presence is just your present senses. So based upon the senses, you have If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So your spiritual currency. So your spiritual currency is based upon what you're paying attention to, and based upon what you're paying attention to is going to create that awareness, attention span, and concentration and focusing and going based upon your first intent, which is going to attract or draw different energies around you based upon what you're paying attention to, and that's going to add to your spiritual value or you being rich in spirit, which adds onto your spiritual currency. So it's just the current stream waterway of you being free flowing or you being absorbed into that emotion and feeling or direction of where you want it to go. So it's like you making a river. It's like you making a waterway, and that waterway can't be constructed without the earth, whatever you're trying to ground and make a part of reality. So it's like you directing where those emotional feelings are gonna go, but you can't get that emotion and feeling without holding on to something. So just in general, right? That's just your spiritual sense when it comes to if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. But your senses is also based upon like a spiritual sense. So it's either going to be a spiritual stench, like an odor, or like a perfume. So it's either going to be alluring or enchanting and charming, and people want to be a part of it because it smells good. It's enticing in the spiritual realm. So look at that as someone who made some new gold or some new talent or some new fruit that's enticing that people want to taste because it's flavorful. You know what I'm saying? It's something that's refreshing, just like good food and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nutritious or something like that. I'm just trying to make up different words to make it make sense. It's like you eating good food and good fruit, and look at the good fruit as you coming up with a new talent or ability to make people enticed to want to actually buy that from you compared to going to Walmart or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like spiritually speaking. And spiritual sense also dictates like being sensual. So like the physical senses. I can't even talk. The physical senses. So you have to learn how to have common sense. Common sense just means having the common mentality. So from you being sensitive to the senses, it's like having a high sensitivity on Call of Duty and stuff like that. So from you being on a high sensitivity, you start moving real fast. So you're able to pick up these different mentalities really fast, and you're able to make it a part of the physical, which leads into the physical senses and stuff like that. So spiritually speaking, you know how to see, you know how to hear, you know how to taste, you know how to smell bullshit. Even though you ain't smelling anything in reality, but you can smell bullshit a mile away. That's like a spiritual sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's simply like that. And the more you understand your spiritual senses, that's when you start to understand your pure state of being, which leads to you being more immortalized or eternal, everlasting, or thinking just beyond just your way of how to go about something. So that's all being spiritual really means for the most part, because that's the only thing that's going to be everlasting and eternal, your spirit. You not having a shape and form, that's why it's incorporeal and is immaterialized, or they'll be like it's something of the imagination. It's based upon an essence. So from it being based upon an essence, it's not a specific shape and form of how that purity is going to look like. So it's just your observations in totality, the positive and the negative, the good and the bad, the, you know what I'm saying, the observations in totality. And that's the thing that's going to make you up as a spirit, your experiences, and then that's it. So once you start to go through spiritual experiments, which is just your experiences, right? From you observing and looking at something in a different way, and all the way down to you actually experiencing it in reality in some way, shape, and form, you're just adding more to your spirit because you went through more things, you went through more shit. So you're adding more spiritual currency. So you have a broader spirit. Look at that as you having a broader you having a broader psyche, or you having a broader mind, or you expanding your horizons and stuff like that. So the afterlife, simplified, is just your existence after this one, after death. So it's after what you experience right now in the flesh, so to speak. And it's a period of continued or renewed use of your existence beyond what is normalized or expected. So, and I have videos on this, right? It's like you being reawakened. It's like you being reborn. So from you being reawakened and you reborn, the only way you can do that is to understand the source. Is you understanding the space that you was in, you being a part of heaven, and you had to fall from grace. Look at that as you leaving heaven, or you leaving the spiritual space of it having no shape and form, and you understanding the purity of what something is, right? and you was able to take something that was a higher angle or an angel, and that angel end up becoming like a fallen angel, or it descending, or it becoming a fall or autumn time, it fully maturing, so it starts to become a shape and form. So that's us right now. We're in the physical. So from us being a descendant of our ancestors, from where we once ascended based upon our predecessors and stuff like that, we left the spiritual realm, we turned it into the metaphysical realm, which turned into the physical realm, which is why we on earth right now. It's just the accumulation of something. So we're the accumulation of the spirit and the mind, and we're acting it out in the physical, and we help build the civilization, we help build the world, we help build earth and stuff like that. Like, not us building earth, but like us making the external world of what we want it to be in the first place, for the most part. So it's just, yeah, it's the period of continue of renewed use of your existence beyond what is normalized or expected. So in that realm is not based upon an expectation. So once you get rid of that expectation type of energy, right? That's like you listening to a demon. And don't get lost into the words that I'm saying. It's like you listening to like a demon. So from you listening to a demon, it's gonna be something that's deadly or harmful or counterproductive or self-sabotaging, or it's just a dissension. It's like a low-hanging fruit. It's low class. It's not high class. So it's something that's monetary and it's temporary. So if you're doing something that's not everlasting and it's monetary and temporary and stuff, that's like you getting caught up in a dichotomy. That's like you getting caught up in, you know what I'm saying, like a distraction, because it's something that's temporary. If you actually on like a high spiritual level and stuff like that, you'll look at that as, man, that shit only gonna last for like a little bit, and then you're gonna move on to the next thing. And you're trying to hold me or make me have spiritual responsibility and take accountability for something that I don't even give a fuck about no more. You know what I'm saying? Which leads to that energies of motherfuckers make people feel guilty about some shit, but it's just them self projecting because they don't know how to self reflect right. So look at that as, because they don't know how to move on from something, they're gonna self project that onto you to make you not move on from what just happened and shit. That's like a motherfucker caring about how you hurt them 6 months ago, but you done did some actions to show you not on that type of time and now, and they're still trying to hold you to that, and they be like, nah, you can't change. Nah, like it's still that though. You know what I'm saying? But what about this? What about that? But it's like, bro, like you the only motherfucker who still give a fuck about that. Like I'm been past that. I moved on. I'm trying to go on to the next thing. Me holding on to that is the thing itself that's gonna hold me back. And motherfuckers, based upon a comfort zone, right? Because people be doing this to themselves in general, especially because we in the physical. So we be trying to find something to be fulfilled about. We be trying to find that comfort zone, and we try to utilize that based upon the external the external realm. But if you get too attached to that, that is the thing itself is gonna hold you back to make you have a broader spirit, or you having a broader psyche, a broader mind, to add more tricks in your bag, to add more capabilities to your bag, to add more talents and gifts to your bag. You know what I'm saying? Based upon your appeal, and it's like you hindering yourself from getting there because you're not willing to follow through all the way, because you're not willing to go through the sacrifices, not like some blood Illuminati sacrifice. No, you letting go of certain things so you can put yourself in that space of how you want to be seen in general. Like all this adds into what I'm about to say with the afterlife and you dictating your future and stuff like that, because your future is just something from now on. So in general, right? From it being from now on, you have to be in that present thing, right? It's like, it's kind of like, again, you have to let go of what you look at as normal and what you look at as like a societal norm. If I want to make that simple, what you look at as a societal norm, and what you look at as an expectation or what you anticipated, you have to learn how to let that go. It's not to say you can't be prepared for certain things if you know about certain things in that area. So you just are like, I'm a do this as a fail safe in case this don't work out. But at the same time, it's like you can't rely on that fail safe, or you can't rely on that plan B either, if that makes sense. It's kind of like, you already like in that mind state of, oh, I'm gonna have something in the spiritual back as like a spiritual backdoor. Like I have something as a spiritual backdoor in case this ends up being a failure or whatever. But I'm not gonna rely on that spiritual backdoor either, because that can get taken away too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something that you think like it's like what they call that shit. It's like money laundering and stuff like that. So from you money laundering and things of that nature, you thinking, oh, okay, if I'm able to money launder this, even if I go through some type of bankruptcy, I'm always have this money under the mattress and stuff like that. And then the FBI gonna make us some shit to make it so you can't do that either, and they gonna look at that shit as illegal. And then look, it's not me justifying it, but it's like a thing of, it's like you expecting the unexpected always. So even if you have something to prepare yourself for it, you're not overly relying on that either. You have something in the tuck, but you're not over relying on that either, because it could go in a way to where it don't even go in your favor to where you could use that either type shit. It's like always being in this weird spiritual dichotomy. And a lot of this shit be sounding scary as fuck. Cause it's like you kind of always have to live life on the edge type of thing. It's like living real daredevilish, but at the same time, that's what it means to be that. Like that's what it means to be alive in general. It's kind of always gonna feel like you living life on the edge, but that's life in general. Like it's kind of like it's a natural mechanism. It's like what I was saying before. All those different things are a part of life. So all those are like you dying 3 times. When your spirit become a mind, a mentality, that's you dying. When your mind become a physical shape and form, your organs, that's like you dying. Once it becomes something a part of the external world, that's like you dying. And then you end up being reborn or reawakened based upon the spiritual space that you in to create something more, because there's no specific shape and form. So that's balance. That's balance. That's endless. Your experiences and your imagination and what you can create for yourself and cultivate for yourself, what you can produce, that's balance. That's endless, so to speak. As long as you keep on trying to expand your attention span and awarenesses, and new things happen every day. So you could be in an energy one day and then the next day you in a whole different energy and don't even give a fuck about what happened the previous day type shit. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just you upholding that. You know what I'm saying? Is you trying to keep something alive. It's the same way when it comes to relationships. That's why that shit is true as fuck. It's like you have to keep on doing things to keep it thriving, to keep it alive, to keep that going, and you don't stop. Like some Too Short shit. Oh yeah, don't stop rapping. Like, yeah, nigga, don't stop. Like, you have to keep that going. It's not you reach the pinnacle and then you end up getting into a comfort zone and then you just stop. No, you keep fucking going to make it harder for niggas to even reach that point that you reached to and stuff. All the way down to like, oh, you broke a record for doing this, then the third. All right, once you broke the record, keep the record going to make it harder for niggas to break that record, so niggas have more to strive for. So niggas gonna be in a predicament to where the minute they end up breaking your shit, it's gonna take them a long period of time to do that, but it's gonna be impressive because that show you how long they was doing something to even reach to that magnitude because of how far you went with it. And then like, yeah. So to make it mad simple, it's like your spirit is like the springtime, your mind is like the summertime, your body is like the fall time, because that's when it starts to reach its maximum maturity, but it's gonna start to slowly die and deteriorate, just like the leaves changing colors and starting to die out and getting falling off the trees and things of that nature. And the external world is the accumulation of the past, present, and the future. So all of it is an accumulation. Your past is a accumulation. I mean, not your past. Your past gonna dictate your present, and then your present is just the accumulation of the past. Your future is an accumulation of the past and the present, and then the external world, or the wintertime, when things start to get frozen or stopped up, or you know what I'm saying, like frozen, stopped up, or it's not moving, it's not going nowhere. It's the accumulation of what it is, and then it stops right there. The past, present, and the future. It's all just a mechanism, a process, and an accumulation. And then once you go through that springtime again, that's you warming up something again to keep that going, just like your spirit. So in general, right? It's almost like the more you try to understand your predecessors, your ancestors, your past, that's you getting more spiritual. Cause it's just you reminding yourself of what you already know. Shout out Dolo. It's just you reminding yourself of what you already know, and is you remembering the space that you was in. Because once you go through different shapes and forms and bodies and experiences, you have to let go of the external world. You have to let go of the physical, the flesh. You have to let go of the shape and form of the mentalities you was in, so your thoughts and feelings, so you can be reborn. So that was your sacrifice. You had to sacrifice all that to want to be a part of existence, want to be thriving and alive and be birthed and sparked back into reality again. You had to let go of all that so you could be reawakened, reborn in another way, so you don't go through soul sleep, so to speak. And the only way you're gonna go through soul sleep, and your soul is just your individual spirit, the only way you're gonna go through soul sleep and you go through that spiritual evaporation, you're going against life. You're going against actualizing and taking care of your seeds you're planted for yourself. And it's like you going against trying to be born. So that's when it leads to energies of people who end up being overly depressed and suicidal and stuff like that. And from you being in that energy, that's how you end up going to hell, so to speak. So it's you evaporating. It's you like crashing yourself out. It's you burning yourself out, and you don't know how to create another circumstance to put yourself in a whole different space because you're being so cold dead and distant in itself. It's kind of like you don't want to create more. You don't want to keep it going because you're getting lost into dichotomies, expectations based upon the external representations. You don't know how to let go of stuff and try to create another thing to be fulfilled into after you done let it go. So in general, from you trying to hold on and retain all that, but you don't know how to let go of certain things to keep on upholding it, to keep on retaining it, is this gonna make you be going through like a spiritual winter time, so to speak. It's like an internal energy. So you're gonna come off stuck. You're gonna come off dry. You're gonna come off barren. You're gonna come off boring. You're gonna come off not that enticing. You're gonna come off like reserved, so to speak. Like motherfuckers can't put a finger on you type shit. You're gonna come off like uncreative type shit. It's like you're gonna come off very like unrelatable. So from you coming off very degenerate and unrelatable, you're just going against life. So you're not trying to do something that's gonna help your spiritual, mental, emotional well being, which leads to your physical well being. You're going against that. It's you going against helping your spiritual well being, and that's like you being enticed by a whole bunch of poisonous fruit. So you're only gonna go through that pain, or you're gonna only go through eating the fruit that's like not good for you, or drinking spoiled milk, or you being constantly poisoned because you're living in impurity, and you're willing to go for the thing that's corrupted or toxic instead of something that's more pure or something that's more refreshing. You rather go for something that's more synthetic and gentrified, something that is an accumulation of that and becomes something after the fact, not something from its pure source and essence. But just in general, yeah, the afterlife is just what you're doing now that dictates your life after this one. And that's basically your future. But your future is only dictated from now on and what is to come or to be expected. So it's just the later period of one's life. So from you understanding the later period of one's life, you kind of have to be that now. So the minute you end up having that spiritual testimony of, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and from now on, I'm acting this nature, is you keep on going with that. But it's like you have to be that in the present moment. Like you have to be what that is, even if it comes out delusional, even if people try to turn you away from that, you have to be exactly what that is. And then eventually it's going to happen, and you kind of like control your destiny or dictate your own future because you're in the energy of you acting like it already happened. It's like you can't get lost into going through the ups and downs. You can't get lost into your wants and your needs. The only way you're going to get what you deserve is just you going through something. And from you going through something, you're not getting lost into what you want or your desires or what you feel is like a need or a necessity or a comfort zone. You're just going through the experience of what it is itself. And that's going to dictate how far you're going to be willing to go through that. So it's not life working for you or against you. It's going through you. And from it going through you, that's the thing itself that's going to dictate your future based upon the presence. Based upon the present and what's presently currently going on. And if you act in that energy of what you're trying to do right then and there, that's basically going to open the floodgate of opportunity and different doors and gateways, aka stargates, right, to put you in a different position where the stars can align, or you know what I'm saying, like you was able to have the right cards and have the right plays to dictate a better future for yourself. And that's all the afterlife is. It's just you existing hereafter. So what are you doing for yourself that's gonna dictate your life after this one, so you can have a broader mentality. So from you having a broader spirit or space or worldview or creativity, right? That's actually being actualized. You add in more experiences and observations for your spirit. Look at that as you adding more imagination. And you actualizing that imagination is just gonna make you have a broader mentality of how to explain and how to go about things. And then your mentality is based upon your men and women, your Adams, your Eves, your thoughts and feelings, your attention span and attraction, and the positive and the negative, the good, the bad, all that type stuff. You know what I'm saying? The certainty, the uncertainty, and once you go in that direction of it being more certain, you gonna learn how to go through that expansion, contraction, direction, containing, condensing, father and the mother type of mentalities for the most part. So you understanding the father sun, the mother moon, the father sky, the atmosphere, and it's gonna lead to you taking care of the mother land. So from you taking care of the mother land, that's gonna dictate mother nature, and is you taking care of your sons and daughters, so to speak. And you end up making that keep going to where your life after this one, you're gonna come back less frustrated, or come back with more imagination, more creativity, more abilities, or come back in a higher shape and form beyond just a human vessel in shape and form, for the most part. Because yeah, we're the highest intelligent human, not human, but like the highest intelligent vessels we can take in this reality so far, but we're trying to become something beyond that. And the only way we can become something beyond that is thinking beyond just the human mentality and being able to uh think more atmospheric. And that's the simplest way of how I could put it. So essentially, it's like us trying to find our wings. So from us trying to find our wings, that's us flying over all these different situations, and we able to tread lightly instead of having that emotional baggage. We treading heavily, and now our wings end up getting clipped, and we end up getting bound or taking spiritual responsibility or feeling guilty, or you know what I'm saying, like emotional baggage. Like we basically like bearing the cross for something that we probably don't even give a fuck about. So in general, we're gonna go through the different transitions and mechanisms of bearing one's cross. So you taking spiritual responsibility for the space of what you want to do as a you know what I'm saying, like based upon like your goals and your accomplishments and what you want to strive for, what give you meaning and reason, and what give you a purpose. You have to take spiritual responsibility of everything that come with it. So you always gonna bear one's cross, but once you bear one's cross or take spiritual responsibility for something that you don't even give a fuck about, now you have to find a way to get that esoteric blood off your hands, and you have to learn how to separate yourself so you can be more free flowing, independent, and liberated, and utilizing your free will in a way to where you can be more carefree and free spirited, because you going through that bondage, or someone trying to put you in a spiritual jail cell, so to speak, because you have to think about it in this way, you have to perceive it in a certain way, you have to feel about it this way and stuff like that, and you can't feel about it no other way except for the diaphragm or some legality or some law system and stuff like that, some societal norms, some civilization, some magic square, some witchcraft. You know what I'm saying? Like it go deep. Like the shadow government set up so much shit to make it so like you can't think like that. But for them to be in that position, that's what them like that's how they be thinking, so to speak. So from them already thinking like that, in general, they understand that on a higher percentage scale, they just made a system, an aristocratic type of system, to make it so they can be looked at as a elitist or in a higher shape and form of them doing that, because they're doing that on a broader scale. But at the same time, they wouldn't be in that position in the first place of trying to play God uh without going through the same process of what I'm talking about right now. So even though I'm not in that type of position, I understand how they would think from them being in that position in the external world and stuff like that, because that's how you have to think. You have to like, it sounds like mad fucked up, but it's kind of like you have to think how they would think in that situation and circumstances, in those situations and circumstances and stuff like that. It's kind of like thinking like a colonizer, low key. Not to say, oh, I'm trying to be that, but it's kind of like you thinking like the predator, so to speak. So is you being the spiritual predator, not the prey? Is you being the shepherd, not the sheep? Is you being the hunter, not the hunted? Is you being the leader, not the follower? But the only way you're gonna know how to lead is to learn from your followers, or you learning from your students from you being a teacher, which only leads to the each one teach one type of energy in general. So it's not to say you can't be in that expression. It's not to say you can't be in that ego. It's not to say you can't be that walking star, walking emanation, walking cross, walking representation of what that could be. But at the same time, you could also learn from people who learn it from you. So it's gonna be a each one teach one, because you know what I'm saying? Like I am the teacher, but the best teachers or the best leaders are the ones who learn from their followers. So they know how to lead the people, because it's gonna be based upon what the people actually want and stuff, instead of it being like a Hitler dictatorship all the time and stuff like that. Even though there is a pocket where that can work sometimes, right? You have to learn how to have that spiritual jump rope mentality of you being able to put yourself in a whole different pocket that's probably completely unfamiliar from what you're used to, which equalize to you adding more as a spirit from more experiences, and then you end up expecting the unexpected of end up going in a way that you didn't expect. That's why it's good to learn throughout the journey instead of worrying about the destination. And that's the thing that's gonna make you more inspired and make you keep on striving for more, based upon you know what I'm saying? Like you basically learning from the experiences of what you went through, so to speak. So it's about knowledge and wisdom, and knowledge is knowledge. So you're always gonna have awareness, and the wisdom is what you learn for those awarenesses. So you can know something, but you don't know how to apply it in the right way, aka you didn't learn. So from you not learning, you didn't fully go through the thing itself. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really that simple though. But yeah. But yeah, the afterlife is just your life after death. So look at that like your life after the fall, autumn time period. And from it going through that fall autumn time period is reaching its fullest maturity. So it's kind of like what we experiencing in the flesh right now. We going through the death period. We're gonna end up dying one day. We're gonna end up getting outdated, expiring, dying, and it's gonna go through that evaporation. So once it becomes completely cold, dead, and distant, that's when it stopped, right? So that's like us being dead in the ground. Look at that as us actually like physically dying. Okay, now it's just dead in the ground. Now it got stopped up. It got frozen, so to speak, because that's what happens in the wintertime from, you know what I'm saying, like water turned to icicles and stuff, and then the snow on the ground and things of that nature. So from us going through that stoppage period of us of it being stopped, or it being blocked, or it being unchangeable, it being unmovable. Okay, yeah, we dead. Our body, our corpse is dead as a husk. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when motherfuckers be like, oh, the body feel cold, it's about to go through the morgue, and then motherfuckers end up being what they call that shit, bro, what they call that shit? Like they either bro, what they call that shit, bro? Like it's like when bro, I forgot what they call that shit. It's kind of like when they like preserve your body through like not like the ashes, even though it's that too, right? It's like either like the ashes, you being 6 feet under, and then start to slowly die and deteriorate, or it being bro, I forgot what that shit called, where it's like they able to retain it and stuff. But otherwise, y'all get my point, right? So it's like a phoenix. It rises from the ashes. So that's you being reborn. So that's you rising from the ashes. That's really just what your spirit is doing. That's like what your ego is doing, so to speak, right? So that's your soul. That's your individual space. So it's you warming yourself up. Is you revitalizing yourself? Is you recreating something? Is you rebirthing? Is you reawakening something? The same way when it comes to thoughts and feelings, and you could wake up in one energy, and then you wake up in a whole different energy, not give a fuck about what you just experienced and what you just created for yourself, so you can create something else, so to speak. You end up going down a whole different creative direction. You get what I'm saying? It's like it's very simple, bro. So it's like you going through that fall winter period, and then you going through that afterlife, right? Is you going through that spring and summer part again, that's gonna turn into the fall and winter. Look at that as the spring, the spirit, the summer, your mind, and then that's your first body, and then it becomes your physical shape and form, which is your second body. So that's it going through its fall and auto time, and it going through its fullest maturity. So you going through that right now, but that's gonna dictate your next life period. It's gonna dictate your next space. It's gonna dictate your next mind and mentality. It's gonna dictate your next fleshly fluid. It's gonna dictate your next representation of how you're gonna be looked at in the external world, so to speak. And you end up building on that. So the minute you start going against that, that's like you going against your dreams. That's like you going against trying to accomplish something. That's like you going against your purpose. That's like you going against trying to have more experiences, not just physical experiences. It goes from the spirit, the mind, then the body. Y'all can, like, y'all be trying to think. That's why I be saying shit like vacations and like physical travel and stuff like that. Not to say there's something wrong with traveling, like physically and stuff like that, but motherfuckers who get too lost into that, they be like, oh yeah, I'm going through a lot of life, and I'm going through this, that, and the third because, oh yeah, I'm able to travel. I'm able to get on planes and go to a whole bunch of other countries and stuff like that, but you never even, it's like, it's kind of like you think because you physically separated from something that take you away from what you just did, so to speak. Like, that's like you being from the hood, and then you end up getting a scholarship, you end up going to college, not say there's something wrong with going to college, and you end up going to college, and then you end up separating from where you was from you being from the hood or whatever, and then now you're around these sorority frat bro motherfuckers and stuff like that, and you get in a institutionalized college education or whatever, but it make you feel like because you're going through a whole bunch of associate, bachelor, and master degrees, which is just Masonic degrees, but from you getting educated into their practices, you think you better or you're more intelligent than somebody else because you went through their system, but all you did was just separate from your people. Just because you physically separated from something, it don't mean it did shit. So this is why motherfuckers be a millionaire, but they still depressed. Just because physically you got all that liquid, physically you going up, material wise and stuff like that, your tax bracket is going up and stuff like that. That don't mean spiritually you feel rich in spirit. It don't feel like you alive. Then it's gonna turn into you feel like it don't even mean shit because you lack meaning and reasoning and purpose behind why you doing it, and you think utilizing something from the external is gonna fulfill something internal, and it never gonna do that. And it don't matter how you try to exaggerate it, and all that leads to is a mental illness, and you mentally dying, deteriorating because you mentally sick in the mind. You're too corrupted. You're too toxic. You're too poisoned. You're not trying to have no spiritual clarity and clairvoyance to try to clearly see what the fuck going on. You still have the rose-colored glasses on, and you still looking at things from a clouded judgment because you're trying to use something that comes after the fact to try to regain a new way of how to look at it when it's never going to happen like that. That's like you trying to act out wintertime energies during the spring. You having a bubble coat when it's starting to warm up and it's pond outside. What the fuck you got a big ass bubble coat, fur coat on and shit like that? It would make no sense. It won't make no sense. So you have to do it from the right starting point. Otherwise, you're gonna do things backwards or inverted. You're gonna be doing it in reverse, and you're not supposed to start in the. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even starting the right template or the right mechanism. You didn't even do it in the right process, so it's only gonna work in reverse. It's only gonna be counterproductive. It's only gonna make it worse. All it leads to is you exaggerating or using different things to cover up your insecurities. That's the simplest way of how I could put it. You're trying to utilize that money to cover up how you actually feel inside. You're trying to utilize that material gain to make it look like you better, but you're not better because you don't even know how to be mentally, spiritually superior than somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like all it is you trying to cover up, and from you trying to cover it up, it's kind of like you have to take spiritual responsibility for that, and then eventually after a while you're gonna get tired of trying to hold up that ego or hold up that light for so long, and then yeah, it's just gonna lead a situation to where God gonna put you in a circumstance where you have to be vulnerable. You have to reveal some truth about something. Like you have to say your true state of being, even though when you're lying, you're still showing your true state of being. It's just you're trying to utilize manipulation. But even when you lying, you still showing your true state of being because it's based upon where you be lying at. It's like a belief. So your belief is just where you be lying at. So you still showing your true state of being. You're just trying to utilize manipulation to cover up what it is. But that's all you showing. You're showing you're just a manipulative person. That's your true state of being. You're showing you're just insecure about something. You know what I'm saying? You're showing you refuse to show your vulnerability. You're still showing who you actually are. You showing what you don't want to show. Type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the simplest way of how I could put it. Motherfuckers gonna get lost and they be like, nah, what you mean? Cause this, that, and the third. I lie real good and I got away with it. Yeah, you think you get away with that shit. No, you don't. No, God always watching. God always gonna see all that shit. God is just all possibilities. Don't exaggerate it. Don't look at it like a deity, our providence type of thing. No, all possibility is always gonna be watching. So everything you doing of what you're gonna create for yourself, that's that's leading to that reap what you sow mentality, which leads to karma. It's just gonna dictate what your next life is gonna be.